Hey, welcome back to another video. If you're tuning in, I just want a quick update for you. I'm post 6 months operation now. So I thought I'd just do a video about some of the top 10 questions I've been asked during the whole process and what people keep asking me. So I thought I'd pick out the top 10 which I seem to get recurring all the time and try to answer those as best as I can. The first question which I get asked all the time is, did it hurt? No, the operation itself wasn't painful at all. The worst part of the operation was actually the anaesthetic part of it. I'm not going to lie, having an ejection put in your penis at all areas, at the base and in the head and all around, it wasn't pleasurable at all. It really was very uncomfortable. But once the anaesthetic actually kicked in, it actually was okay. The only thing you could really feel during the whole operation, which only took half hour, it wasn't half hour, 45 minutes, somewhere around that sort of time, wasn't very long at all, was you could feel a tugging sensation. That's the only thing you could really feel. But in terms of pain sensitivity at that time, no, there's nothing to be concerned about that at that point. So if you're having the operation, the worst bit's over as soon as the anaesthetic is done. So brace yourself for that. It will make your ice waters a little bit. Other question I get asked is, what cut did I go for and was I given a choice? Yes, I spoke to my surgeon about this when going in. You're given given some options as to what would be best for you. He suggested for me to be I think it was a high and tight cut. It was. So what it is, the actual cut itself is done approximately, I would have said maybe half an inch or so below the head of the penis. And it's relatively tight cut, but the skin itself, when non-erected, does move. It doesn't move over the head anymore. It sits behind it quite nicely, but it does still move, and there is still some movement there. When erect, no, the skin does come quite taut. There is some very, very slight movement on it. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. But in terms of the options, there are other options available to you, and it will be personalized to what you're looking for really, and the outcome both aesthetically and I suppose feel really more interesting. Would I have chosen to have this done out of choice? No, I think I've mentioned that a few times in a few videos, that if it's not broken, why try to fix it? I do not believe that you should have this done if it's for cosmetic reasons. The only reason I had it done was for a medical reason. So I put it off as long as I could. I tried various different treatments, tablet forms, ointments, creams. I was prescribed a number of options before I actually embarked on this surgical route. About 18 months or so, I was trying other therapies and other types of things before things got a little bit more serious for me, and I was left with no real option other than having it done. So yeah, so that's the reason why I had it done. No, if I hadn't had any problems at all, any complications, I certainly would not gone and done it. And I urge anybody who is going down this route, explore all options first. And if you're doing this for cosmetic reasons, then do ask yourself why and what is the reason for wanting to do this, because in all honesty, I can't think of any reason to do it unless it's for medical reasons. Worst part of it, well, if you're watching these videos, you were probably either started out or looking to have the operation, or you've already had the operation. And if you've had the operation, then you know already in the first couple of weeks, the worst part of the whole thing is the healing process, where especially the nighttime erections now, where you've had the stitches in the skin which has been removed. The problem is the skin goes quite tight, and when you are sleeping at night, you do, as all guys know, you get a nighttime erection, and that is probably the worst pain ever in terms of that, as it tugs and pulls into sharp pain, and you will bleed. There's no doubt about it, you will bleed a little bit. It's not a lot, so don't panic. It is very, very minor amount of blood, but will be blood. Well, there was for me anyway. So the worst part was that. So the first 2 to 3 weeks are your worst part of it, where you have those stitches in and you have those nighttime erections. once the stitches actually do come out, it actually doesn't hurt so much in the evening sleeping. The other part, which I was just, I say it's the worst part, the secondary worst part for me was the sensitivity. Now, it's very sensitive for me, so the actual head of the penis came very sensitive. So when it touched anything, it was like, wow, that's uncomfortable. It's not painful sensitive, it's just very sensitive, and it's just uncomfortable really. So you kind of got to get over that side of it. But yeah, so they're the two worst things that affected me more were the nighttime erections and sensitivity. So they're the worst bits of it. Which moves on to the next question, really, which I get asked a lot: how bad is the sensitivity? Now, this is going to be different from person to person. My sensitivity from someone else is going to be completely different, but I'm pretty sure that between us all, there is going to be a degree of sensitivity there. The sensitivity on the head of the penis, for me, was quite bad in the first month, and then as the months went on, it actually got less and less and less. So I was able to be able to sleep without wearing briefs in the evenings anymore, and to bed I was able to sleep naked, so that was fine. It wasn't uncomfortable, it wasn't hurting, I could sleep on my front. But in the first month to 2 months, no, it had its good and bad days really. So yeah, sensitivity is definitely an issue there. In terms of sensitivity after, so there's the other sort of flip side to this question. A lot of people ask, do you lose sensitivity in the penis? Now, again, this is going to be person to person. For myself, yes, there is a slight loss of sensitivity, not massive amount. Now, when non-aroused, the sensitivity is just normal, as if it had a foreskin, to be honest with you. And when aroused, there is the sensitivity is there, but it's not as great as it was with foreskin there, where it covered the head of the glands, and when that's exposed, it's more sensitive. So that side of it does go down slightly. Now, I have been told that it can get worse or it can regain. I'm only 6 months in, so we're yet to see on that, and I'll update as I go along on that side of things. Another question I do get asked is, what type of briefs do I wear? Early on, after the operation, it's always best advised to wear tight briefs to keep everything from movement, because as mentioned earlier, the more movement, the more sensitivity, it becomes very uncomfortable. So I highly recommend wear tight briefs to start with. And to be honest with you, I still wear tight boxers. I don't wear budgie smugglers or anything like that, and I don't wear loose boxers because I just feel uncomfortable, and I never wore them prior to having the operation, so I'm certainly not going to change that now. So yeah, I wear normal tight-ish sort of briefs really. Masturbation problems is another key question everybody asks about. It's different now. It is different. You don't have a foreskin anymore to move up and down, so you don't have that self lubrication. So it is more dry. So I would urge anybody, to use some form of a lubricant, from water-based lubricants, and one which doesn't, if you've gone through this operation, it could be because of some form of irritation, which is damaged your foreskin. So use one which is not got any alcohol in it or any form of chemical in there, which could cause that irritation again, and because you don't want to go back on this whole situation. Otherwise, why did you go through this situation in the first place? So yeah, use a water-based lubricant, and it does help. In terms of, is it any different feeling? Yeah, it's different. Of course it is. It is very, very different. It's like anything. Everyone has, I suppose, have their own style of how they masturbate, but it certainly is, it's a change. If you're born and you had it done at childbirth, you probably wouldn't have known, but, I was nearly 40 years old when I had this done, so I'm now aware of both sides of it, and I can tell you now, pre-operation was a lot better than post-operation. So I hope that answers that question for you. When does it get better? Good question. Again, different for every person. For me, I would have said probably about 2 months in. So it gets better. You say 2 months in, I was at a stage where I felt comfortable in terms of going back to some normality in my life, of returning back to the gym, going out for runs, being able to wear various different sort of shorts and trousers, tight, looser. It felt a lot more comfortable for me. But it starts getting better. So I was getting skip back a couple of stages there. It starts getting better from about week 2. So the first 2 weeks of after the operation are the worst, and then week by week gets better and better and better every week. So if you're watching this video and you are very early into your operation and you've only just had the operation a couple of weeks ago, you're gonna have to bear with it. There is no easy way around it, but it does get better. I can assure you it does get better. And certainly you get to 6 months like I am now, and it's as if it was, well, I say, for better word, as if it's always been like that, because it's not. But if you get my drift, you don't notice it anymore. You forget about it. And the only time you notice it is when you're in the shower and you look down and go, oh, yeah, okay, something's different now. But otherwise, no. Yeah, first 2 weeks, it gets better, and then better afterwards. 2 months was when I got to the point where, yeah, things are, a lot more comfortable for me. Again, that sort of touches on when back to normal life. Again, different for every person and what normal life is to you. My normal life is I'm quite an active person. So I'm a regular gym goer. I cycle, I hike, I ski, I run. I do all those sort of activities on a daily basis. So it took me a little bit longer to return back to that in the full extent, a couple of months before I felt more comfortable. And certainly with running, it was hit and miss. Some days were better than others. But in terms of going back to work and that side of things, I was back to work after 2 weeks. So it wasn't too bad. I was moving a little bit slowly. I was walking a bit slowly, but otherwise, yeah, fine, back to normality then. Last question, I'll bring up number 10. Am I embarrassed about this? No. Reason why I've done these videos, really, I'm not the type to get very embarrassed very easily. I'm quite open and honest, and I've been open and honest with people who have spoken to me about this, my family, friends, anybody who's wanted information. And yeah, some people say, if you go to a gym and you're standing in a shower, does it concern you? No, not at all. I've never been ashamed of myself and my body anyway. So I suppose for me, it's not really caused a problem. And I think if anyone in the shower is going to turn around and say, oh, look at you, you're circumcised. Number one, I'd ask, why are they looking? And number two, I'd just ask them, say, thanks for noticing. There's nothing much more you can say about it. It's not really about anything to be embarrassed about, I think the day we live in, I think it's better to talk about things, be open, and that's why I've done these videos. So I'm hoping that from these videos I'm able to talk about my experience and answer some of those questions, and hopefully encourage anybody going through this or thinking to go to talk about it and talk to other people and talk to someone who's had it done. So yes, I hope these videos are helping, and if you have any other questions you'd like me to answer in any future videos, then please do put me in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. But once again, thanks for watching, and I hope everyone has a great evening. Thank you.